What's up, movie freaks? Today we're going to be doing a review on 21 Jump Street.
"21 Jump Street" was released March 12th, 2012. It's directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Stars Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum.
21 Jump Street is a good movie of its time, and even after its time, really, for being a comedy, as we're still watching it here in early parts of 2020, discussing its relevance to today's time.
So yeah, a lot of other comedies from around the same year are very forgettable and doesn't have anything to bring you back to it. Whereas this one, I feel, is still holds up today.
Yeah. It's interesting that you would make that point about this movie lasting longer than the others of its time, particularly lasting longer than The Campaign, which also came out in 2012, as well as This Means War. Just feel like audiences took better to 21 Jump Street and remembered it longer because of its portrayal throughout the entire movie, rather than these other two films.
And we couldn't actually remember any comedies from 2012. We had to Google search it. I personally used to hate Channing Tatum as an actor. I just thought he was terrible in everything. But this was a movie that kind of changed my perspective on that. He's really great, and he's also really funny in this, which surprised me. I think what helps the comedy a lot and helps it stand out from standard comedies is this sort of self-awareness that it has to it. It's mention of remaking everything from the 80s when it was doing the same thing, or with the trucks that you think are going to blow up and they don't. That sort of thing, that sort of self-awareness, I think, really helps the comedy last longer than standard.
Right. It's interesting that you would say that, because it really saves itself from sort of a trap and going in the right direction. It takes the chase scene, and really saves its own skin, because one would think that the flammable truck would explode and cause a big scene, but instead it goes in the direction of a comedy, that a comedy would take the right direction, and the chicken truck explodes, which, as I say, it saves itself from a trap, because if you were going to be going into an action direction, you would need to have all action up to then, and follow an action theme before then. So it does a really good job of sticking consistent and being more comical that way.
And kind of blending them at the same time, using action to make a joke instead of just having action alongside the joke.
Right, exactly.
The only real flaw I think the movie has is somewhere in the middle, leaning towards the third end of the movie, is it slows down a lot. When it hits that point when things aren't going so well, it feels like it's just a bunch of story at that point and not any comedy, and I just had noticed how much it had dragged at that point.
Right. It's just kind of lacking in the comical area.
Yeah.
It focuses more on the plot at that point, and it almost loses the audience for a little while. I'm trying to figure out the story isn't what they're trying to figure out, but it's just it's taken away from its comical nature a little bit more.
It's not like it's a bad story, it just is kind of an average story, so it doesn't hold your attention as much, and it feels slower at that point.
Right. Okay, and now for our little personal conclusions. I think, as a newcomer to the movie review industry, alongside my friend Will, I think I would give this movie an 8 out of 10, because as I said, a newcomer to the industry, I didn't have high expectations myself, so I came in with pretty much a blank screen as to what to expect, and so this movie, at least for me, sort of hit all the high points that we discussed. I just noticed that one little flaw in the middle, as we talked about, but I was very pleased with with everything that I saw relating to this movie.
Overall, I think the film is really funny. It has enough special about it to sort of set it apart from a standard comedy. It's not quite enough special about it to like set it into like an all-time great comedy, but it's still really good. It still holds up today, and overall I give it a 7 out of 10.
As always, thanks for watching Movie Freaks. Let us know what you think of 21 Jump Street down in the comments below.
And check out Mark's channel. It's Marky Mark, and I'll link it in the description. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen. There's a lot of other comedies from around the same year.
I can't do it sometimes. I just can't.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes.
I'm so bad.
You're good.
I'll try and look at like your shirt or your hat or something. That way I'm not looking directly. I'll look like at those stormtroopers. That's pretty good. No one can really tell.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a glance at your eyes once. Right, right.
And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. Oof. Okay. Like, share, and subscribe the video. That's what I said. Auf Wiedersehen. What's a rope?